actually benefit from the growth that international companies are bringing to the city. Transition this industry step by step. Mentorship is not always like a structured thing.
Y hay una necesidad muy clara y un problema que no está resuelto.
Tú inviertes en Holanda, ¿qué diferencia de rentabilidad hay entre allí y aquí?
Lo que se temía que iba a pasar empieza a confirmarse allí.
Hoy tenemos aquí a un buen amigo, a Hans, que os va a contar un poco toda su trayectoria. Él empezó haciendo eventos y con esa necesidad de tener como material gráfico acabó montando HelloPrint, que ahora factura la friolera de 70 millones, una startup que no ha parado de crecer y que trajeron de Holanda a Valencia con 250 empleados, que además luego ha ido evolucionando. Él es emprendedor en serie, ha montado muchas compañías y ahora tiene un Venture Studio que entre todas sus compañías facturan por encima de 85 millones. Nos va a contar su trayectoria, por qué Valencia, por qué apoyan tanto al ecosistema, cómo han convertido su compañía en una B Corp y bueno, cómo surgió todo lo que están creando. Hans, ¿qué tal?
Muy bien, Diego.
Un placer.
Thanks for having me.
Ya, la entrevista va a ser en inglés porque él es el que más controla.
I promise you in the next couple of years I will be able to do it in Spanish. Yeah.
Cool. So for them to know who is Hans, we would like you to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
You know, where you were born, why you moved to Valencia. I don't know.
Yeah. Thanks for having me here in sunny Valencia.
Yeah.
It's much better than where I've been born in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam, actually 41 years ago. Born and raised in the city of Rotterdam, or close to the city of Rotterdam. Always been an entrepreneur there, built many companies, always loved the thrill that entrepreneurship gives. And a couple of years ago, we decided to start building our company internationally from this beautiful city. We ended up here by coincidence, I would say. But we fell in love with the city, and now it's our second home.
So you were born in Rotterdam. How was the ecosystem in Rotterdam? Because now it has been growing, like one in Valencia that we started like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It was very small here. We were like, I don't know, how many startups we were here? 10? Yeah. I don't know. How was in Rotterdam when you first started? What did you study and how you became an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
And how was the ecosystem in that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, 25 years ago when I started to become an entrepreneur, it was very individualistic, I would say. Startup was not even a term or a thing. That all started like, I don't know, you know it as well, like 12, 13, 15 years ago, I think. But in a sense, you can compare, I think, the ecosystem of Valencia with the ecosystem in Rotterdam. Also, like year or 8 ago, we started to figure out with some like-minded entrepreneurs in Rotterdam, hey, the ecosystem is basically non-existing. We know there's a lot of activity, but it's not super connected like it was in other cities, like in Amsterdam, which is like only 60 kilometers from Rotterdam, of course. And we started to figure out, hey, if we really want to achieve something, then we need to collaborate in a much better way and also communicate that we are working together and doing things together and evangelize that a ecosystem can bring a lot of value to others. And that's why we started some initiatives there. And the same like it developed in Valencia, that professionalized, the government saw the value of it. We published a report there. And from that moment onwards, it's, so the ecosystem is really on a good flow, I would say. It's professional, it's being led by great people there. Mm-hmm. It's out of the hands of the entrepreneurs, but it's highly aligned, loosely coupled, and supported bottom up from the entrepreneurs themselves. It's really cool to see how that evolves.
It sounds very much to me because it was the same path here in Valencia.
Yeah.
We will talk about the ecosystem afterwards, but first, who is Hans, right?
Yeah.
What did you study and how did you become the entrepreneur that you are today, right? Because you studied what?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. You escaped university, you didn't go to university?
Yeah, I'm a classic dropout, and I was an entrepreneur before I started my. I had the idea. I never knew what to do. I was always a very busy kid, and it's funny because my mom is a hairdresser, my father is a postman.
So not from home, right?
No, not really. And I think I always wanted to escape like the boring stuff in life, and I think entrepreneurship is the thing that always brings you new stuff and much excitement, etc. And I still love the unexpected things. And that's how I became an entrepreneur. I was studying small business and retail management on the University of Applied Sciences in Rotterdam. And after a couple of months, I already thought, okay, so why am I doing this? Because I already have a small company. If I now invest all my time and energy into that, instead of being here in a classroom where I learn things I thought already knew. So yeah, long story short, after 9 months, I quit that school and I started to focus fully on my entrepreneurship. The funny thing is that I returned like 12 years later as a
professor,
as a lecturer,
really? Cool.
to teach the people there how to finish their studies because it's important.
And what was your first venture about?
Yeah, I think officially my first venture was an event company. I was organizing events in my hometown. But long before that, I was a music teacher actually when I was 15 or 14. I was playing keyboard and I figured out, well, if I give some private lessons to others, I can make some money. And so that was my first unofficial
my
adventure.
First job was a judo teacher.
Oh, really?
I was doing judo.
Can we do
rugby,
Can we do judo here?
We can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you brave enough?
What do you think?
I think so. So you start by teaching kids, obviously, and then you start with events. What type of events?
Yeah, so all kinds of events. My first event was my mother just divorced my father, and she was saying, so I still want to do stuff. You know how it works, right? If you're in a divorce and then you want to meet new people, and she said, there's nothing in our village. Can you organize something? Because I was already active in the so organizing some school parties, etc. Then I started with an 80s, 90s party, 70s, 80s, 90s, disco.
So parties.
Yeah, just
Mainly
parties
right?
with a live band, and it was quite a big success. And then we thought, okay, so let's do that more often. And in a couple of years, we were doing like 150 parties per year around the city. When I was 19, I had a team of...
That's why you are motivated now to do the festivals that you do?
Yeah, so that's really, that comes from my heritage.
Yeah.
We did a lot of house events, etc., small festivals.
That's your roots.
That's really my roots, yeah. So it's deeply covered in what I like and where my passion is about.
So 150 parties a year?
Yeah.
How big the parties?
Yeah, from a couple of hundred to a couple of thousand.
All right.
And for those parties, we always needed to have like a lot of printed materials. Yeah, you're a little bit my age, right? So there was no social media. You could buy a ticket in a local cigar shop, etc. All physical papers, etc. And it was quite expensive to buy that for every party. And then I thought, okay, so if I make that a little bit more efficient and apply some economies of scale to that, maybe I can design all the flyers for a couple of years, for a couple of months. And then combine them on a big sheet and ask a printer, hey, take the biggest printing sheet and then cut them loose.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be much more effective. And that was the start of like what now is HelloPrint.
You started by buying all the flyers and cards and everything and the tickets.
Yeah.
And then you tried to capture all the value chain, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we've never produced anything ourselves, and
No?
still with HelloPrint, it's only connecting.
With the clients, right?
Yeah. So in the early days,
so you're your first client and your first supplier,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. The first thing was funny. We found a printer in Belgium. They had the biggest printing sheet we could find, and on that sheet, 36 individual flyers fit. And then we thought, okay, shit. So then we need to design 36 flyers. Then we asked the venues where we were organizing stuff. Hey, do you also have some work maybe that we can combine? Then until we had 36 every week. And then we asked that printer to print it. And then we were driving on Fridays to Belgium. My amigo Michel was picking that up. Then he drove to all the venues, drop all the boxes. Cash payments there, and then we had a slide. We had a little business model starting to flow.
So you were your first client, but you started having more clients with the same supplier.
Yeah,
and you were looking more suppliers.
Yeah, so
right?
In the first couple of years, we did it with one supplier in Belgium.
Okay.
But then we figured out, okay, if we can do this with flyers, we can also do it with tickets and with posters and with letterheads and maybe envelopes and business cards, and that's how the whole idea of let's standardize that huge industry which is print, bring it to the internet and see if we can scale it. And yeah, we were very lucky. We were there at the right moment at the right time. Google was introducing Google AdWords. I think this was 2003, 2004. And we were investing a little bit in marketing there. And we saw, oh shit, what is this? So yeah.
How was the name of that company?
Back then it was flyer.nl and poster.nl. It was funny because you could, that sound like e-commerce.
So not HelloPrint.
No, there was not HelloPrint yet. And it was funny because you could go to the website. There was a price range there. And then you could download an Excel file, fill it in by hand, put it in an envelope together with a CD-ROM with a file on it, send it to our office. And then once in 2 weeks, we were combining all that stuff. And then we send it to the printer and brought it to your house. That was like the first step in becoming an e-commerce company.
It's amazing how the margins worked.
Yeah.
To be so manual.
Exactly.
That the margins worked, right? Now you couldn't do that, right?
No, you couldn't do that anymore.
There's so much competition. The margins are lower, right? And HelloPrint, when is the first? Sale with the HelloPrint name? Yeah, so
with
your first shareholder or no?
Yeah, so it started as fly.nl, poster.nl. Then we became Flyer Zone. Okay. That was the first online printer in Europe. We did it in Belgium and the Netherlands. I sold that company in 2010 to a listed company in the UK, printing.com. Joined their board of directors in Manchester as an executive director. Left that company, and then I thought, okay, so.
How many years were you in the company?
So 1.5, more or less, like the standard.
You had a vesting or no?
No.
Okay.
In the end, I regretted it so much that I sold the company because I sold my baby actually. That I was so super unhappy there, and they treated me super well, but it was just not my thing. So I lost my soul and my energy. So my baby was gone, and
but in the end, there was not enough money, or what? It's not about money?
I think I was never motivated by money. It was a shitty deal anyways, but so that in hindsight, that might have influenced something. But for me, it was never about the money. So it was...
Maybe because there was a bigger project with more resources, right?
Yeah, it was just the thrill of building something with great people who were enthusiastic and like-minded and very international. That was like, I lost that like in the blink of an eye.
That's what motivated myself to sell Intron Army. Yeah. Because there was a bigger project, international, 40 countries, more resources. Yeah.
In hindsight, it was the best decision I've ever made, but not then. I was super unhappy. Then I decided, okay, what should I do? So what is the next step? And then I figured out all kinds of things. And I wanted to work on my professional football coach career because I have all my UEFA diplomas. But yeah, that also turned out not to be like a full-time thing that would really give me the energy I needed.
And why do you organize the padel tournament and not football?
Exactly. So it all comes from...
I play football every Thursday.
Okay, next time I will join. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I can coach you then, right?
You could. We need a coach. Actually.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
You start HelloPrint.
2013.
How long after?
Yeah. So then I decided to bring like the old band back together. So I got Michael, who was also working at Flyer Zone. I got Nick back to the team and Erwin. And then we decided to jump into this huge market, 2013.
So they absorbed the team.
Yeah.
And then you get back part of the team, right?
Yeah.
To HelloPrint.
Yeah.
And you start HelloPrint on your own?
Yeah, with the four of us.
Co-founders?
Yeah.
Four of you. Okay.
With the four of us and some informal investors. One was owning a big printing facility. Another one I knew from the past. And we just started and with the knowledge we had and with a lot of energy and a lot of fun, and it quickly grew. So in the first year
Well, you knew the industry, right?
Yeah.
You knew how to do the things, right?
Yeah, and it was still like the industry was... This is now 11 years ago already, and so the industry was still not super developed in terms of like e-commerce adaptation and online penetration. Yeah. We could do it quickly, so the first couple of months we already had like significant revenue, and the second year was like quadrupling that and quadrupling that again.
And how in 70 million?
Yeah.
How much was your first year? So your second year?
First year was 1 million. Second year was 4 million. Third year 14. Fourth year 28.
All digital? All online?
All digital. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't have this big company that you knew from the past? No.
Only small clients. Wow. So HelloPrint was always like small clients, but lots of small clients. Really typical e-commerce company. Not B2C, but B2B, but small B2B. which
And
has the
your competitors,
characteristics.
like Vistaprint, were in
Vistaprint,
that time?
yeah,
Or no?
yeah, for sure, yeah. They're also around for many
Because
years.
I remember using Vistaprint
Yeah,
many years
yeah.
ago.
And they bought all our local competitors, so that's now a big group. But we were always like shaking up the market and trying to disrupt and be a little bit on the edge,
Yeah.
etc. So they didn't always like us, but we always liked what we did.
And from 1 to 2 to 4 to 14 million, what are the leverages that you have been unblocking, or the milestones that you've been, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So because many people think, okay, they were from 1 to 14 million in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
How can I make it?
Yeah. Well, the best advice that I would give is focus massively on team.
Right.
Because in the end, it's very easy to copy a business model, but it's very difficult to copy DNA. And we always focus, maybe not the seasoned professionals, but we always worked with super energetic, like-minded, extremely hardworking, young people, or young is not important, but like energetic.
Yeah.
Who really
But
wanted
maybe
to make
the
a
younger
difference.
ones have more passion, right?
Yeah, not always. So you always have so I know like very seasoned people who still have that energy, but it's only about that energy and passion. So because we're not building a rocket, right? So you don't need like sufficient knowledge or deep knowledge of a certain topic. What you need is energy and the will to
push.
to change, to have a growth mindset, to be very adaptable, very agile, very curious. If you have those characteristics, it's very easy to build something. And it doesn't matter what you build. So so I know a lot of people in our companies that we can easily change to another company of the group because they're just super motivated. And it doesn't matter then if you sell software or you sell print or you sell real estate. Well, maybe the guy in real estate, we can't really switch, but you never know, right?
I think that in real estate is the same thing, right?
Yeah,
So,
of course.
And apart from this cliche of you have to have a good team, very energetic, whatever, which is, I mean, standard, right?
I'm not sure if it's standard, actually.
No, I don't mean that it's typical. I mean that the kind of how we build a company is that you need to bring to the team mainly, I mean, especially in the first, steps of a company, you need to build a founding team, very strong one, and like-minded and everything that you mentioned. But I mean more the skills that they have to have.
Yeah.
So it's about, you have 1 million, 2 million, you need this founding team to scale the team in every department, or it's more about management, it's more about, I don't know, marketing, it's more about sales, it's more about whatever.
Yeah, a couple of things. So we always build a very independent group of people. So that's different. So we always said we don't do hand holding. We're looking for entrepreneurial people. So our founding team are the founders, but we want everyone to feel like a founder. So the first 20 people were all very entrepreneurial, very individualistic. Well, not individualistic, but independent.
Yeah, independent.
So just do your shit.
That they don't call you, Hans, what
exactly.
is my next step, right?
Yeah, and that makes that you can go much faster because you don't need management. Up until a certain level, you need to implement certain rules, etc. Second thing is we always massively focused on data and marketing. Okay. So data environment was always their top-notch, extreme, absurd amount of reports every day, even when we were small, so that we could make data-informed decisions. And in the end, it was always about, hey, how can we scale our marketing in a better way? How can we spend more, but also don't forget about the returns that it should bring? So quite quickly, we had a model that worked in terms of customer acquisition cost compared to value. Yeah. And that model was scalable up until a certain moment. And then we needed to reinvent it again.
And what is your biggest challenge? Because in Intronorme, my biggest challenge was with Facebook and Google changed the algorithm. And you were mentioning the margins, right? And the cost of acquisition. It grew up to, we had margins of 23%, and they went down to 30%. Yeah. So we need to reinvent ourselves, right? What is your biggest challenge and when?
In terms of marketing, you mean? Or?
I mean, in the company.
Yeah.
My biggest challenge was not the team, was not the model, was more about the costs of acquisition.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So for us, the biggest problem was back then how to scale the team. Okay. So at a certain moment in time, 2016, we were hiring 30 people per month. Mm-hmm. And that massively changed the culture. Yeah, because we were hiring way more customer service reps.
Your first 20 employees were still there?
Yeah.
Okay. How much were you making?
I think this
revenue?
was in around 35 million
so
or something.
35 million.
Yeah.
How many people were you in the team?
Well, at a certain moment, like 150 in Rotterdam
Yeah,
or something,
crazy.
or 130.
And
then
you were seeing Rotterdam.
yeah, that was actually the reason to rethink how we should scale, because I read a lot about cell structures of Eckhart Winsen, for example. So if the team is becoming too big, then you are losing like the entrepreneurial feeling. So we came up with the idea, hey, why not build a other branch focused on customer experience in another part of the world? And we were already exploring the Spanish market because my big friend Robin, which I knew from when we were 3 in the
Great
kindergarten, you know him, right?
Yeah.
He was moving to Spain with his wife, and we were talking about, hey, what are you going to do? And then we decided that he would try the Spanish market, but that didn't really worked out back then. But we had a great team here of customer service reps, and then we came up with the idea: why not try to build this as a separate company under the umbrella, highly aligned, loosely coupled, but focused on customer experience. And that solved a lot of problems for us, because we could scale down the team in Rotterdam. We could bring back the culture, focus there more on growth, and build here a team solely focused on customer experience. Right? Yeah, and that worked out super well. That was the best decision we've ever made. And now we're here, and so we're now here for 8 years.
Because there were 2 cultures there, or no?
Yeah, definitely.
So separating the team means that you are not too many to manage.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you separate it's not a small team, but I mean, not that big team.
Yeah.
Smaller one. That's why now you are building Weibo, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we're copying that methodology of like individual cells with an umbrella. So we do the same with Home of Bro.
So you have their product, marketing, supply, and sales.
Yeah, customer service and experience. Yeah.
Okay, so customer service plus sales.
Yeah.
You were building it here.
Yeah, but nowadays it's a very bold mix. So we also have the half of marketing now here. We have data here. We have great developers here. So it's now like it's really our second headquarters. And I always said I promised the team and everyone, and also the city of Rotterdam, that we would stay in Rotterdam with the headquarters as long as I would be CEO. But I think we fell in love here, so we fairly consider Valencia as our second home and headquarters.
That's crazy. And when I first met Andrés, that I saw him in LinkedIn posting something about co-livings.
Yeah.
Like we will talk about Valencia afterwards. And I contacted him. Hey, we do kind of the same thing. And when you talked to me about having 250 people here, and we didn't have you on the map.
No, exactly. No, you told me. The first time we met in La Punta, right?
You know?
And, Yeah, we were always very under the radar, and I think now it's so there's so much Dutchies here, or international companies now coming to the city, and it's funny. I was saying that yesterday to someone when we were arriving here 9 years or 8 years ago. There was nothing.
No,
I think we were like.
Actually, I have a friend who organizes parties just for Dutch people.
Yeah.
And he makes like 3,000 people parties, only Dutch. And I say, where are they? You know.
I'm always very intrigued by it because I don't see them quite often. I see them here in the building, but the places I come in the city are more Spanish than Dutch focused.
Yeah.
But it's really funny. So, it's obviously it's not strange because this city has so much to offer. There's everything, right? So it's that's also why so many people love this city, not only for holidays or pleasure, but also to work remotely or to build a company here. Because I think the ecosystem is great.
Yeah. So you choose Valencia because Robin was coming here.
Yeah.
He finally chose Valencia as his city home, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you bring here, or you hire here 250 people? You brought here the people, or you hire the people
It's
here?
a combination. So if you take a look
it was like in the company, hey, who wants to go to Valencia or no?
No. Back then it was all. So the first 3 hires
were hirings.
Yeah, the first 3 hires were Maria, and Pedro. So 3 Spanish people. Okay. We still have the photos on the rooftop, and it's fantastic. And then Ellen came, sort of half Spanish, Canadian, French guy, who also joined the team, and then some others joined, and then it became much more international, and that's always what we love, and that's also what the city is really good at. So there is it's a bold mix of people, and should be careful that it's not becoming too international too quickly. I think yesterday I said it to Robin and
like
Andrés.
Barcelona, right?
Yeah, we were driving through the city, and I said so many restaurants, Spanish restaurants, are now changed into bigger chains, etc. And although I'm part of the problem, of course, I'm very aware of that. I don't really like it. So the internationalization of a city, should not go too fast? Because you don't want to become an ex-Barcelona, I think, here, right?
I don't. I think that we are not going to be Barcelona
No.
because there are many differences.
Yeah.
But we are experiencing, like the locals have to go out of the city.
Yeah.
Actually, now in Instagram that I'm posting about these touristic places that
Yeah.
we built, there are many people that complain from the tourists
Yeah.
and the digital nomads or the foreigners
course,
that come
yeah.
with more money and they can afford bigger prices or higher prices, right? But I think that it's good to have them. The problem, I don't know if you agree with me, the problem is that our governments and our education doesn't bring us tools to make the most or take advantage of the growth of the city.
Yeah.
So the local cannot take advantage of the growth of the city.
Yeah.
Just a few of us are taking advantage.
Yeah.
So the growth of prices, it benefits me, right? Because I'm in real estate, for example.
Yeah.
The people from the restaurants, it benefit them. But like the 90% of or 95% of the locals
Yeah.
are suffering from people coming from abroad, right?
Yeah, I think it's a very generic problem for bigger cities, of course. Yeah, for here, so the local population needs to compete with a bigger inflow of international people who are paid better, who speak English in a better way. So I think the
more open-minded in many cases.
I think it all starts in the schools, to be honest. So if the educational system is also developing and
what would you change in our schools? Because I think it's not a Valencian problem. I think that the Spaniards, we think that the problems are only ours.
Yeah.
And I've seen this in the United States, in Miami, for example. It's happening, the gentrification, right?
It
happened in
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. It happens
everywhere.
in New York, in wherever you go.
Yeah.
In Medellin, they just came back from there. So people from there has to go out, right?
Yeah. Well, I think there's an excellent opportunity for countries like Spain to take a front row, actually, because not all the countries are developing in the same capacity. Germany is struggling a lot. In the Netherlands, we also see that the entrepreneurial climate is like under pressure. Let me put it like that. So if I would have been in charge of the political climate here in Spain, I would say invest massively in the educational system. Make sure that everyone speaks super good English.
Yeah.
Make sure that you invest heavily in technology education, data education, and take that front row, because then you can massively benefit from the growth that international companies are bringing to the city. Yeah. And then you are going to benefit instead of only the internationals or only a few in the ecosystem who made that change.
You know what surprises me? Like I would say 95 of my friends who are from Spain, they don't take their kids to an English school, or they don't try to make the most of their English education.
Yeah, why is it?
I don't know.
But that's an important.
But they know that it's important.
Yeah.
And many of them have been in Erasmus, travel. Yeah. All of us have been traveling for years, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not our grandparents.
Yeah, and you have so much to offer, right? So maybe it's the only thing that's needed.
I sold my company because I knew how to speak English.
Yeah.
If not, because the board of the acquirer, they were all like 80%. They were foreigners, right? The investors.
Yeah, and I think so. The reality is, whether you like it or not, so the world is more international than ever. Yeah, and the foreign language is English, although Spanish is even bigger. But so.
We are now fighting about local languages, Valencian, Catalan, or Gallego, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, Euskera in Basque Country. And we are not trying to push the government to learn English.
Yeah.
And if you want your kids to learn English, you have to pay a lot in private schools, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I think it's the main problem in Spain, that we cannot take advantage of the foreigners because we don't know how to communicate with them. So you are going to hire us. We are not going to hire you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference.
Yeah. No, that's
probably we are going to have this like difference between local companies that pay, I don't know, marketing manager. I have a friend who was hired by a Spanish company. He was getting like 30K a year. And he started working for an American company.
Yep.
And he started like by 70K, Yeah. But in the United States, they pay 100K, right?
Of course, yeah.
So it's cheaper for them.
Yeah.
Better for him. That's something that we capture some value. But the thing is that many people are not gonna be able to take the advantage.
Yeah.
So I don't know how Valencia is gonna evolve, but I think the 2 or 3 coming years, we are going to see a lot of change.
Yeah,
in
I
the
think
city.
so. Yeah. Well, you see it everywhere around you
Yeah.
already, right? So it's hopefully all for the good. Yeah.
Why do you think that we don't create these bigger buildings, or I think that we are not adapting the city on the needs that are coming. Do you think the same way?
Well, the city is crowded, of course. So
It's crowded now.
so yeah, they're
Prices are getting
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you take a look at real estate, of course, it's
Yeah.
so local people
And
can't
restaurants.
afford a house in the city anymore, and not even the city center, but also like the surroundings of the city center, and that by itself is a problem
You
because
know how many empty flats or apartments are in the city of Valencia? 28,000.
yeah, crazy.
So we don't have a problem, a housing problem in Spain.
No.
But the houses, like empty houses, are from the Sareb, which is the government's,
Yeah.
funds, banks, and families.
Yeah.
And there are many families who are afraid. Well, you have something similar in the Netherlands, right? The
Yeah.
law changed, and
Yeah,
now
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not very good for
Yeah.
the.
Well, I think the big
owners.
difference, but correct me if I'm wrong. So is that so in the Netherlands, for example, if your grandmother dies,
Yeah.
before she dies, the family has already sold
Everything.
the house because they want to have the money. They're so like in Spain, what I see and hear is that the house is much more valuable to have in the family, and Spanish people much rather prefer to keep it empty.
Yeah.
And to keep it for next generation, which I think is a really good thing. But of course, that also can lead to the fact that not the whole offering is utilized.
And do you learn at school how to manage your finance?
No.
No.
No. But Dutch
Is there a culture of
Dutchies
finance?
are greedy, right?
Yeah, but you are like a civilization that you've been learning how to market your goods, right?
Yeah, of
With-
course.
with-
We're trading
with-
trading country.
But
Yeah.
we are a trading company too.
Yeah.
Why
exactly.
don't we know how to manage our assets? Because now in Spain, the families is because of this. I mean, it was from my grandfather or whatever,
Yeah.
but also because they are afraid of the law.
Yeah.
Real estate law, right?
Yeah.
If the tenant doesn't pay you, it's a
Yeah,
problem.
of course.
And also because they don't know how to manage it. So I don't know if in Netherlands happens the same.
I think people in the Netherlands generally care more about their financial situation. And I think my honest opinion is you enjoy life way more. So
Okay.
I think, and that it is a fantastic thing. So that's why
There's
I
no
love
time
to
to
be
lose,
here.
right?
Exactly.
Time to
So,
waste.
but Dutch people will always prefer to have their finances in order rather than enjoy.
Okay.
In here, so even people without money go for dinner.
Yeah.
That's always
And travel.
exactly. So
everything.
because that's like the first need, and in the Netherlands, that people will not do that. They first save money and take care of the next years, and then if everything goes north, then they will spend it on, in their eyes, the unnecessary things,
Yeah.
which here are being considered like the primary things in life, right? That's why I love being here.
Another thing that you are very focused on is the climate change, right? In Netherlands.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Do you think there's a climate change?
Well, I think that's not a question, right? So
No.
you see it in here. Summers are like July and August is not doable anymore to be in the city center. But also in the Netherlands, it's now raining from the 1st of September until now almost every day. I think it's
Raining or it's not raining?
It's raining. Yeah. Which is obviously a result
change,
of change. And I think we need to be very aware because, I think I read a quote of someone in the 80s, and they were saying like around 2030, the Netherlands and Denmark are the best holiday countries in Europe because the southern part of Europe is just becoming too hot.
Okay.
And that's what we see, right? So the forest burnings here and in Greece and in Italy, etc. And even in the Netherlands, it's already becoming very hot and super humid and with a lot of rain.
More tropical.
Yeah.
Wow. Why do you think that the Dutch people are very much on sustainability? Because here in Spain, anyone gives a shit, right?
It's different.
Yeah. United States, we saw. You
I was
you
almost-
remember the fans in the garden?
Yeah.
You know, like
No, of course. But
consuming
a good
electricity.
example is at HelloPrint we're very aware of things. One of the things we've implemented in Rotterdam is 2 or 3 days meatless. I was introducing it here. I was almost get killed. So don't take my
Really?
jamon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it says something, of course. They said it with a
That's
smile. but
meatless or
meatless.
cow?
Yeah, exactly.
Cowless.
So for us, meat is everything. It's cow,
Okay.
but also chicken.
Everything.
So yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, you can read.
and I think I'm not sure why it is. We were always like front runners in certain spaces, and there's some attention in schools as well.
What I
the-
see is
for
that the
topic.
smaller countries are the most sustainability driven.
Yeah.
The bigger ones are the ones that
Yeah,
pollute
exactly.
more,
So yeah, it's
right?
an interesting topic. I don't know why that
don't know
is.
why
And we
it
obviously need the rest of the world, the bigger countries, to apply for this
But
change.
Are you on sustainability because you believe on climate change or because you don't want to, I mean, because of the short term or long term? Because what I think is, I don't know long term how it would be. I'm not sure if they are telling us all the truth.
No.
But what I think is that if I go to Thailand and I see all the plastics,
Yeah, of
I
course,
go
no.
to, I don't know, wherever it is and it doesn't rain, or it annoys me, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
yeah.
if I see rubbish, right,
Yeah.
like everywhere,
Yeah.
that's something that annoys me. So it's more on the short term.
Yeah.
Or if I go to Valencia, I can't be in many terraces, in the restaurants
Yeah.
because of the pollution, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, are you more in the short or in the long term?
Yeah, I think it needs to start with like a changed mindset, and
Yeah.
and then if that happens and a new generation comes up and there is a changed mindset, we will do the things for the longer term. I think we need to be careful with doing things or blaming people not doing stuff. We need to have a positive attitude to change for the longer term, but it starts with the big transitions in energy, for example. If we don't do those
Yep.
bigger things, all the other things are very irrelevant. But that doesn't say that we shouldn't do the short-term things. So, for example, at HelloPrint, we're now a certified B Corp.
Mhm.
It was a really long and very intense process that touched every process in the company. But it's a necessary thing to...
What is a B Corp for the people to understand? Because I learned it we went on a visit in Stanford.
Yeah.
When we visited San Francisco, and they explained it to us.
Yeah.
But in Spain, I don't know how many B Corp companies there are, but probably a few.
Yeah,
That's
definitely. Yeah. So, and it's a growing movement of around 4,500 companies now in the world who are committing to more than profit. That's basically what it is. And who are changing their focus from shareholder to stakeholder so that all the parties in the ecosystem will benefit. And it's a very intense process to become a B Corp and to keep it because you're audited.
3 years.
It's 3 years,
It took for you, right?
3 years, and every 3 years you are
Making changes.
constant making changes. And of course, in our industry, because we're in the print and merchandise industry, which is very polluting by itself, it's for some people hard to believe that you can be sustainable. But that's not what we're saying. We're saying, hey, look, we know it's a very unsustainable industry, but it's also one of the largest industries on earth. So there is apparently a need because everything around you is printed, from the label in your blouse to a flyer, everything. So we can better say, hey, let's change this industry, transition this industry step by step. Put a mirror in front of us. Don't say, hey, we're a sustainable company, but we're working towards a sustainable transition. And that's a really big difference, I would say.
Yeah. Actually, here in Spain, many banks, mainly, they say that they are making this sustainable politics inside, but you have to click a button to not receive the letters in paper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You know?
well,
Instead of clicking the button if you want to receive it in
yeah,
paper,
it's a
right?
bureaucratic thing, of course. It's not only in Spain, by the way. So also in the Netherlands, it's still like we're moving quicker, but yeah, those small things this is easy to change, you would say, right? But because of bureaucracy, it isn't.
So it means sustainability politics, also equality, right?
Yeah. So
men and women.
It's environmental, social,
yeah.
and governance. And on all those different aspects, there are so much underlying goals that you need to apply to, and it's about gender equality, it's about diversity, it's about equity, it's about the pledge that you do as stakeholders as shareholders in the company, that you commit to certain goals,
Yeah.
filed in the bylaws, and so it's very intense. But it's also the only way, in my opinion, to do it. So
Yeah, I think that we have a big challenge in Spain not to treat like the women equality or the climate change or whatever as a marketing strategy,
Yeah.
right? To not incorporate that in the marketing plans,
Yeah.
but in the governance plans or
Exactly.
business plans, right? Because that's a change of mindset, and I think that in the Dutch country or in Austria, where I lived for 6 months
Yeah.
during my Erasmus, I saw it very. I mean, the politics and everyone are talking about it, right?
Yeah.
And here they don't. It's just.
But I think it's a matter of time, right? So
Yeah,
that's
it will come, right?
it just comes a little bit later, but everyone has to. And if you see and feel the effects around you,
It's inevitable, like Elon Musk said.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, but that's what it is, right? So if you really feel that it's unhealthy to live here in August in Valencia or somewhere else,
Yeah.
then you might start thinking that what we're doing to our environment is not for the long term.
Yeah, actually, I moved from Rusafa, where I lived for 3 years, because in the summer I couldn't breathe.
Exactly. Yeah.
I went down all this. No trees, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I had to move a bit out of the city where there are more trees, and I feel more.
And a big
you know,
house, right?
No, it's not a big house. I mean, it's a bigger house actually, but it's an apartment,
Of
right?
course,
With
no, but it's more healthy,
yeah.
right? So that's
with
but
the
it
river,
says a
you know,
lot.
like
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
like the last part of the river
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah. So let's get back for a minute to your companies, and then we go to real estate.
Yeah.
Okay, with Andrés.
Yeah.
So your companies, we were in for 35 million, more or less.
Yeah.
We were talking about 150 employees. You come to Valencia, you're making 35 million. You reach the number of 70 million,
Yeah, more
and
or
you
less.
started making more companies, or you started incorporating more companies before?
Yeah, no. So we always built HelloPrint from a very entrepreneurial perspective. And what we always saw and saw more and more is that we built the company, but also it triggered a lot of entrepreneurial sparks within the teams that we had. And that was also the moment that we said, okay, so we can do more for the ecosystem, and why not support young aspiring entrepreneurs in their journey to become an entrepreneur? And that led very organically to the foundation of a couple of other companies, where it was always like the entrepreneur or the young aspiring professional who said, hey, I want to start something by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Can you maybe help me or advise me? That led now to a small ecosystem of companies. You see them here on the posters, and we have a couple more.
Every time I come here, you have 2 more.
Yeah, so
Two
I
new
mean,
ones.
so there are always like very enthusiastic entrepreneurs here who start something new, and that doesn't say that necessarily that we are like involved or a shareholder. If they want us to be, then we're happy to support, but it's very organically. And
Maybe you can be just a client.
exactly. So we can be a client, or we can be just of help,
great.
and so it's always like it's completely separated from HelloPrint, because we have the firm belief that if you start as an entrepreneur, you need to stand on your own feet. We're there to watch, and we're there when it goes south, but we're not your
father or whatever.
No, exactly. So you need to. So they have completely separate P&Ls. They have different shareholders. They can't, if they use stuff.
Do you promote in the company internally that
Yeah.
the people create new costs or no?
Yeah. Because I believe, so in a lot of companies, that's forbidden, right? It's even in your
Yeah, it's
labor
like-
contract, so
yeah.
you can't do like other activities. I'm a big believer of that. You should evangelize that, because it's also my personal preference. I love being an entrepreneur, and I get, if I see the spark at someone, I don't
We
want
get
to.
bored if we
Yeah,
don't
yeah, exactly.
do the things.
And there are so many round circles, because people start becoming an entrepreneur, then they come back as an advisor of a client, or maybe they return to the company, or we start something together. I think it's very valuable to do it like that. And so that's why you're here at the Home of Growth. We're building companies here in a sort of, it's not an official venture studio, but it's like very organically created, and we have a lot of fun. We're here we have keynotes here, we have inspiring sessions, but it's all being done by the entrepreneurs themselves. And And on the floor downstairs, we have HelloPrint with the big operation and the big...
First time that I saw this, it was in Google X in San Francisco,
yeah.
that they promote internally that you create a new innovation or
Yeah.
whatever, not even a company. So it's like a project. They give you money. You create this, and if they accept you in their new investment, they invest you and you can incorporate the company, or even you can leave the company and do it on your own.
No, exactly. So it's more or less
because,
the same. Yeah.
you know.
But so in the end, it's all reciprocity and maybe karma even. So there is always there.
This is not a jail, right?
No,
for
exactly.
entrepreneurs.
So no, and I think it's super. And entrepreneurs find their way anyways, right? If you want to ring fence them, they will find their own way if they're good entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So no, I love seeing them go, and there's always a moment that they will return in a shape or form. Very proud of how we do that, and also very proud of the entrepreneurs who are always willing to contribute and to give back, and also play their part in the ecosystem, because that's also what I really evangelize to them. Hey, don't be very individualistic, but pay back and pay it forward, and that's very important. I think if everyone pays their fair share towards the ecosystem, help each other grow, then we can do great things in the world. And
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So you have HelloPrint, which is now 70 million. What is next for HelloPrint? It can be an IPO. It can be
so we're
grow
building
the
it in
company.
a slow pace right now.
Okay.
Focused on profitability, on durable growth.
Which is a new era, right, for venture capital.
Yeah, so I mean, we made that transition to 19 already. Then COVID hit, and we came out of COVID much stronger than ever. Now we're a very financially sustainable company, but also a longer term sustainable company with the B Corp certification. So the focus is on making that transition, having a profitable company that can keep investing in growth, but in a durable way. And then the next step is, so we just launched a new sub-brand. It's merged by HelloPrint. Very sustainable, high quality merchandise products internationally. So that's very promising, I think. It's a startup in a startup. And the next steps are like continuing this growth. Maybe there will be a new financial investor, private equity, maybe for the longer term. Can be that we work towards an IPO. But we don't have the financial goals like on top of the list. Just want to build a great company that can serve as an example for many in terms of culture and how to build a company.
Then you have Weibo, which is this account management company. You work for more companies. You put squads, right, of teams in the companies. Yeah. What else do you have? With Valencia, that we
we VLC for real estate. We have Labelnon.
Labelnon, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a marketing agency for agencies.
Oh, okay. I knew that one.
And we have a new player to the party, that's Engage.
Okay.
Our new AI company, which is building customer service agents that are better than humans. Also great entrepreneurs, and that's a nice story actually. So I need to zoom in.
You have to talk to Danny about AI.
Yeah, it would be great. Yeah. But this is a nice story
that.
of how things can evolve quickly. Then you can go to real estate. So Rory, one of the co-founders of Engage, and Tijmen, one of the co-founders of Engage. I met Tijmen in the Netherlands during an ecosystem event, the Digital Summit in Rotterdam, Upstream Festival, and he was there building his previous company with his co-founder. This was in the midst of COVID, but they were working from home. They were sort of lonely. I said, come to the office, just work, use my facilities, etc. Well, long story short, they used it for 1.5 years.
Okay.
But back then they sold that company, and I invited Tijmen to come to Valencia. We had an ecosystem party here with the Next Web. We were doing the paddle tournament.
Yeah.
Then Tijmen met Rory, because Rory was the organizer of Valencian Codes. They met there, and now they have a company together. And that makes me really proud. So it's two countries, 2 cities, multiple business models, meeting here. And now we're building something crazy ambitious here with a team of 8 here and 4 in Rotterdam. And that's nice.
Yeah, that's great. And then Moonshot, right?
Moonshot is, unfortunately, we stopped with that one. Yeah, that's also...
it happens, right?
It happens, yeah. And it's also fine, right? And we do that, we cheer on it, and then we move on. It's also part of entrepreneurship.
And he was an entrepreneur from the company that started that company?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
And now he's doing, again, his own company, and he just texted me to work for Merged by HelloPrint as a consultant.
All right.
So that's what I mean with like round circles, right? So that's it all circles back at a certain moment in time in a shape or form that fits.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Mentors.
Yeah.
In my first times when I first started, I had some mentors
Yeah.
which were not the same one as today, and I've been like unblocking, milestones thanks to people.
Yeah.
Not only a team, but also this kind of advisors or mentors,
Yeah.
however we want to call them. Who were your mentors and how they helped you?
I think I had a lot of them, but very organically. Maybe my best and mentor was my co-founder at Flyer Zone, who was a little bit older, I would call it. And he always put a mirror in front of me, and he still does, right? Where we now have we're not working together anymore. In fact, maybe that will happen again. But we have a house here together, and we're still like, we're challenging
Having
each other,
right?
but also in a very organic way. I think everyone you need to talk to people and take their advice serious. You helped us grow here, right? So to open our eyes in the ecosystem, for example. So mentorship is not always like a structured thing, and that's also why in our companies we're not applying formalized mentorships, but we are there for people who need an advice, asked or unasked, to help them grow. And I think it's super important for everyone. And I think if you're getting older, you value that much more, because now you see that it actually helped you grow, right? So when I'm saying this, I'm realizing again that I'm really getting older. So
Yeah. Okay, we are gonna call Andrés. So we talk about Valencia, which is one of your last ventures about real estate, which is my industry now, and I want to talk about it. Okay, Andrés, ven.
Hey.
Te dejo aquí y te pones.
Muchas gracias.
Sí. Bueno, Andrés Nieto es el con el que yo empecé a interactuar en LinkedIn, y gracias a un post que puso sobre co-livings que antes he explicado, pues al final conocí a Hans, a Robin, al socio, a todo pues a este grupo de gente, equipazo, que tiene aquí 250 empleados y emprendedores, como ha dicho Hans, y que están realmente contribuyendo al ecosistema de Valencia de una manera súper guay, porque son una compañía súper internacional. Cuando tú vienes aquí a las oficinas parece que estés viajando, ¿verdad?
Sí, total.
Sí. Andrés es español, obviamente. ¿Vosotros tenéis Valencia?
Sí.
¿Empezasteis hace cuánto?
Hace 2 años y medio, más o menos.
2 años y medio. Sí. ¿Y era el mismo modelo que hoy en día? ¿O cómo
Era
empezasteis?
Bueno, ahora no se va a enterar mucho él, pero gracias por tenernos aquí.
Él se entera, él entiende todo. Hay que tener cuidado cuando hablas.
No, empezamos puramente con co-living. La idea es, sabemos montar una comunidad internacional, experimentamos en primera persona que con el grupo de empresas estamos creciendo, estamos atrayendo más gente joven, internacional a esta ciudad.
Que necesita housing.
Y no solo nosotros, sino que la ciudad está empezando a repuntar y hay una necesidad muy clara ahí y un problema que no está resuelto. Entonces decimos, con esta experiencia y conocimiento de montar comunidades, vamos a trasladarlo a la vivienda. Vivienda para gente internacional, en su idioma, con un servicio premium, como sabemos dar en el grupo. Pero nos dimos rápidamente cuenta que para montar ese tipo de localizaciones no había mucho en el mercado. Entonces teníamos que invertir, teníamos que desarrollar, teníamos que mejorar lo que había actualmente. Y ahí es donde la conexión de Holanda con España y de todos los trabajos que hemos realizado ya nos permitió conectar con los primeros inversores, donde pudimos comprar, reformar y luego empezar a gestionar esas...
Todo el dinero, el capital que estáis invirtiendo, ahora hablaremos de números y tal, pero ¿todo el capital es de Holanda?
La mayoría del capital inicial fue de Holanda.
Vale.
Ahora tenemos ya inversores de varios países europeos, incluso españoles, pero donde aportamos más valor, obviamente, es internacional. Somos un partner serio, ahí es donde cambia un poco el modelo. Empezamos como co-living puramente, pero nos damos cuenta de que podemos solucionar muchas cosas a nivel de inversión y que hay inversores internacionales que quieren tener una rentabilidad fija y hacer un impacto positivo, les podemos ayudar a colaborar con nosotros. Entonces, no solo holandeses, pero ya casi de toda Europa.
¿Cómo convencéis a un holandés que invierta en España, cuando a lo mejor ni siquiera ha estado en Valencia?
Sí. Bueno, ahora es mucho más fácil que antes.
Claro, por eso digo.
Y se ríe porque, claro, al principio, si tú para invertir en otro país que no es el tuyo, sabiendo la desconfianza que tienen de España y de muchos procesos que suceden, si no tienes una red de contactos muy fuerte, yo tuve la suerte de vivir en Holanda, de trabajar en HelloPrint, de trabajar con contactos comunes, si no tienes esa red de contactos que les pueda dar la confianza, es muy difícil en el principio. Así que al principio fue a través de la red. Hoy en día es dándole su mensaje en su idioma, enseñándoles casos de éxito en su idioma, trabajando y ofreciendo el producto de la manera que lo hacen en otros países.
Ya han ganado dinero los de antes, ¿no?
Han ganado
Los
dinero los de
primeros.
antes, empiezan a hablar. Y obviamente el sector de inversión en real estate es totalmente diferente y mucho más profesional en el norte de Europa que aquí. Entonces,
Claro.
a la mínima que empiezas a hacer un poquito las cosas distintas, ya se dan cuenta de que puedes aportarle mucho más valor.
Vale, rentabilidades, ¿qué diferencia hay? Si tú inviertes en Holanda, ya no te digo Ámsterdam
Sí.
o Rotterdam, sino en general, ¿qué diferencia de rentabilidades hay entre allí y aquí?
Ahí está o sea, el factor potente es que les pueda dar un buen servicio, pero obviamente cuando comparas la rentabilidad de ciudades como Ámsterdam, París o otros lugares, ahí están consiguiendo rentabilidades de entre el 3 al 5%.
Brutas.
Sí, los que tienen suerte y los que lo hacen
Sí.
bien. Hablamos de activo, de residencia. Cuando ya empieza a ser un poquito de cosas más arriesgadas, se puede incrementar. Entonces, aquí nosotros estamos trabajando rentabilidad bruta de entre el 9 al 12% en algunos casos. Eso cuando gestionamos alquiler. En otras,
Modelo habitacional siempre. No estáis haciendo piso completo para una familia como hacemos nosotros, ¿no?
No, primer foco fue habitacional para dar solución al tipo de perfil que necesitábamos. Después nos hemos dado cuenta de que este perfil internacional también crece y crece con nosotros y tenemos directivos, otro tipo de,
Claro.
de cliente que necesitan una solución un poquito más premium y también la abordamos de vez en cuando. Pero solución habitacional es donde
Es
más
la principal.
sí.
Y luego conexión un poco de toda la red, que es la clave del modelo co-living. Pero
Claro.
es un modelo co-living descentralizado en realidad.
Sí.
Nosotros sabes que tenemos una participada que es de Residencial
Sí.
Club, que ellos solo cogen edificios y hacen modelo co-living en un edificio.
Claro.
Pero vosotros no. Vosotros hacéis modelo co-living en la ciudad, ¿no?
Sí, muy similar a lo que vosotros teníais, por eso cuando conectamos inmediatamente vimos que había mucha conexión. Descentralizado, apartamentos por toda la ciudad. El nexo de conexión son eventos, hacer un buen matching entre la gente que va a vivir con ellos, darles oportunidades para que luego creen negocios juntos, viajen juntos. Y eso lo puedes hacer en el mismo edificio hoy en día o con eventos incluso online, presenciales, aportándole valor a través de la comunidad. Y eso es como funcionamos.
Del 100% de inquilinos que tenéis, ¿cuántos dirías que vienen del entorno Home of Growth?
Un pequeño porcentaje, la verdad.
O sea, captáis más de otras...
Sí, yo diría que entre un 15 a 20%.
No es casi.
Y porque elegimos nosotros que haya un buen balance. No creamos una solución exclusivamente para Home of Growth. Ahí nació la idea, pero ahí nosotros creamos, como todas las empresas del grupo, nacen ideas de necesidades que tenemos y a partir de ahí tienen que encajar en el mercado, si no, no estás construyendo un negocio.
Claro. ¿Cómo ven los holandeses el tema político en España? Porque nosotros en España decimos, qué poca inseguridad jurídica.
Sí.
Pero nosotros, que sabes que tenemos ahí con un grupo de argentinos, que son como 40 argentinos, que jugamos a fútbol, hacemos asados, tal, ellos vienen de una inseguridad jurídica muchísimo mayor, ¿no? Entonces dicen, no, es que aquí es bastante seguro jurídicamente. ¿Cómo lo ven ellos aquí?
Bueno, con Hans comentó esto y es muy peculiar y gracioso porque, obviamente, nuestra situación política y la manera de hacer las cosas culturalmente es totalmente distinta. Pero ven cosas positivas. Dicen, mira, son tan lentos en España, a veces implementando cambios, que es fácil de predecir. Es fácil de predecir que las cosas cambian, pero cambian muy lento. Ya sabes que las cosas funcionan a veces muy burocráticamente, con poca transparencia, que van a engañarnos. Pero si ya sabes y puedes
Las reglas del
predecir
juego.
cómo va a ser, son muy estables. En Holanda ahora mismo están cambiando la legislación en medio año, implementan y vuelven a cambiar. Entonces, eso les genera un poquito de inseguridad en su propio país y empiezan a ver España con otros ojos. Y obviamente estamos dentro de la Unión Europea, por lo cual para inversión internacional es un plus, comparado con otros lugares que...
Claro. Ellos han tenido una ley de la vivienda bastante complicada para los inversores o propietarios, ¿no? ¿Eso ha mejorado que vosotros captéis la inversión para venir aquí o no?
Claro,
¿O no necesariamente?
Para desgracia, para el inversor holandés ha sido una ley que no está funcionando y que está siendo muy, muy exigente. Para nosotros ha sido el momento ideal. Vemos ya desde hoy en día que lo que se temía que iba a pasar empieza a confirmarse allí. Los inversores que estaban esperando están empezando a sacar su capital fuera y en Holanda y países del norte de Europa se empieza a hablar mucho de España y concretamente de Valencia, otras ciudades como Málaga, donde la comunidad internacional está creciendo mucho y las oportunidades tanto de rentabilidad como de poder asentarse allí son más altas.
Claro. ¿Crees que esto de haber salido en la revista de Forbes o New York Times y tal ha mejorado nuestra visibilidad fuera o realmente es más bien que ellos se recomiendan a otros y tal?
Hacer ruido ayuda, esa es mi opinión. Y muchas cosas en el ecosistema local ayuda a que se sucedan. Por ejemplo, vosotros con Startup Valencia y otras muchas iniciativas que montáis, sin duda tiene un impacto. Pero el impacto de verdad es ver que la gente viene, vuelve a su país, hablan, siguen
Están
hablando
contentos,
y la
quieren
comunidad
venir
empieza a
aquí.
crecer, empresas holandesas o internacionales empiezan a venir aquí y atraen empleados. Eso es el motor principal. Sí.
Claro. ¿Y ahora estáis cogiendo edificios ya o seguís con el modelo de pisos?
Estamos
Es que los
estudiando...
edificios está complicado,
Sí.
¿eh? Se han acabado casi, al menos en el área metropolitana, ¿no?
Estamos mirando edificios, pero no queremos hacer edificios por hacer edificios. Queremos crear una solución y un concepto de living que nos atraiga mucho como para poder meternos en ello.
Vale.
Es verdad que a nivel de inversión hay muchos inversores que le interesan que nosotros ya demos un paso un poquito más grande, pero tenemos nuestros principios claros, el producto que hacemos, y hasta que no estemos convencidos de que podamos aportar un valor significativo en un activo, todavía analizamos, pero todavía no hemos dado el paso.
Es que yo veo la diferencia, no tanto en Holanda, porque fuimos en junio, y ahí es más parecido a España, ¿no? A nivel de amenities y los edificios que hacen. Pero tú te vas a Miami, te vas a Dubái, te vas a Medellín y hay edificios gigantes súper adaptados para tener amenities.
Sí.
Tienen restaurantes, tienen galerías de arte, tienen coworkings. No entiendo por qué no llega a Valencia, por qué seguimos construyendo como hace 30 años aquí, ¿no? A nivel conceptual, más allá de los materiales que han cambiado, ¿no?
No, y dices, muy buen ejemplo, estuvimos juntos en Miami, ¿verdad? Y estuvimos en Selina, el mayor co-living del mundo. Para nosotros esos ejemplos son inspiración,
Claro.
que están llegando a todas las ciudades top del mundo y que todavía en Valencia no están. O no están en el nivel que deberían de estar. Si nosotros encontramos la oportunidad de seguir ese camino, lo haremos y nos encantaría hacerlo con gente local, con colaboradores locales, con inversores locales, porque podemos aportar un valor que necesita la ciudad.
Claro. Oye, tu historia es muy guay dentro de HelloPrint o del entorno Home of Growth, porque antes Hans explicaba que hay emprendedores dentro de la compañía que luego montan sus propias empresas. Y tú empezaste como alguien que iba a hacer prácticas, ¿no?
Sí,
Como un intern.
estos
Sí.
estaban totalmente locos. Obviamente...
Pero tú te fuiste a Holanda a hacer el internship.
Sí.
O sea, todavía ellos no estaban en Valencia.
No, yo estaba en ese momento viviendo en Latinoamérica, en Chile.
Ah, vale.
Bueno, trabajando y estudiando. Mi rama y mi pasión emprendedora ya estaba dentro. Desde siempre he hecho cosas pequeños negocios, vendía cosas, organizaba eventos, lo que estaba dentro de mí y trabajaba muy duro. Y vi la oportunidad, yo quería hacer unas prácticas en el norte de Europa, donde pudiera aprender inglés, pero simplemente ya tenía varias localizaciones, pero vi un día HelloPrint, la cultura de la empresa, el emprendimiento que había dentro de ella, y me fui para Holanda directamente, solo exclusivamente por ellos.
Qué bueno.
Y el hecho de que también la manera de cómo contrataban, cómo gestionaban, y de ahí a prácticas, muy rápidamente empecé en Valencia con Robin, el cofundador aquí de HelloPrint en Valencia.
Pero además, perdona, porque tú ahí no sabías inglés, en realidad.
No, por eso digo
¿Cómo
que...
te aceptan sin saber inglés? Porque aquí el español dice, somos todo excusas.
Sí.
Es que no sé inglés, es que está muy lejos, es que es muy caro, es que no tengo a nadie que me apadrine. Pero tú fuiste ahí con un par y sin saber inglés ni nada y te admitieron, ¿no?
Es una mezcla de dos cosas. El español tiene esa mentalidad y yo simplemente decidí intentarlo con todas. Y ellos digo que están un poco locos porque ellos veían el potencial emprendedor, alguien que sin los recursos lo intentaba como pudiera y sin saber inglés, obviamente toda la noche, bueno, 6 horas de diferencia, me dan la entrevista a las 10 de la noche, me entero y empiezo sin dormir y con una nativa cojo por allí y me preparo 200 preguntas y cuando empiezan a ver eso y tus intenciones y tu capacidad de querer, es el tipo de empresa que HelloPrint y el tipo de perfil que Home of Growth busca. Gente emprendedora, gente que quiere intentar.
Que tiene energía y ganas.
Y donde las oportunidades están.
No, yo creo que los españoles eso sí que lo tenemos. No sé por qué tenemos tanto miedo a hacer las cosas, porque somos emprendedores, buenos ejecutores, somos currantes en general.
Hay buenos ejemplos también.
Hay muy buenos ejemplos. O sea, es que tenemos los que llevan por delante de nosotros 1000 años, ¿no? Y no sé por qué ese choque cultural ahí de gente que, o en Estados Unidos, que dice, venga, yo para adelante y que sea lo que Dios quiera, y el español que le cuesta un poco más, ¿no?
Sí,
Pero luego estamos en un entorno emprendedor que ves casos como el tuyo, como el nuestro, como el de otros, que...
Sí, pero ahí vuelvo a mencionar la diferencia con Holanda como ejemplo. Para aquí emprender se está normalizando cada vez más y hay más oportunidades, pero en otros países es lo estándar. Hay gente que emprende, el gobierno, el entorno te facilita y te empuja a hacerlo. Claro. Es normal, hay mucho más ecosistema emprendedor. Aquí ves menos casos, cada vez más, afortunadamente, Pero bueno, crear lugares y ecosistemas donde eso se puede potenciar es algo que nos encantaría siempre participar, seguir haciendo y con gente como vosotros y nosotros potenciar aquí en Valencia.
Pues sí. Oye, muchísimas gracias a los dos. Sí. A ti por responder a aquel mensaje de LinkedIn que muchas veces yo le digo a amigos, digo, ¿tú quieres contactar con esa persona? Escríbele. A mí hay 1000 que no me contestan. Porque, pues, no sé, igual se les pierde o no les interesa o lo que sea, pero yo lo intento. Y al final hay casos como el tuyo que salen, y seguro que Hans lo ha hecho millones de veces también. Hans, thanks a lot for choosing our city to be like creating companies here. We are building the ecosystem, but we need more stakeholders like you who bring not only joy, but also
bring joy, hopefully, right?
you also bring joy, yeah, everywhere you go. But also energy, capital, of course, money, and talent. I think that we are gonna be a great city. We are a great city now, but we are gonna become one of the top cities in Europe probably in less than 5 years.
100%.
Yeah. How we don't become a Barcelona, that it's like overwhelmed everywhere, you know, like.
Be
Yeah.
careful with that. We were
Yeah.
discussing that yesterday, right?
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah, we don't know how to do it or how to stop the things that create it, but I think that we will at least live the following years very well. Sí. Bueno, aquí tenéis un ejemplo de una empresa que ha crecido muchísimo, Hans como emprendedor, Andrés también como emprendedor, y nos encanta tener emprendedores así con nosotros porque co-creamos muchísimas cosas, ¿no? Y había un ejemplo muy bueno durante el COVID que yo veía los grupos de WhatsApp de amigos de toda la vida y de emprendedores, y los emprendedores no se quejaban del gobierno, ni del COVID, ni nada, sino que estaban todo el rato creando nuevas iniciativas para adaptarse a los nuevos tiempos, y esto es un ejemplo de ello, ¿no? Que es un orgullo tenerlos en nuestra ciudad y bueno, yo muchísima suerte de tenerlos incluso como amigos. Muchísimas
Muchas
gracias.
gracias, Diego. Gracias a ti. Gracias a vosotros.